Okay, let's begin talking about this week's parsha. You know, even though we're advocates of the 3-year cycle of study of the parsha, there is advantages to the 1-year cycle. There's a reason why Jews have picked it up and why it's so popular, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I like about it is it gives me a chance at least to review Genesis. It allows us to review this creation story, and like the Rambam says, you have to familiarize yourself with Ma'aser Bereshis. You have to understand it's like the basics of understanding the Torah, except it's so deep that you're not really supposed to discuss with everybody in public. So we're not going to do that. I'll just share some idea that I saw earlier today. The idea of the Eitz Hadat. What is that? What is it? What is a tree? Because there's Rishonim who say it was given its name not at the beginning. It wasn't called the Eitz Hadat Tovara. It was only given that name because of what eventually happened to it, like Har Elohim, Har Sinai, like Uncle says. It was on the mountain on which God would eventually reveal Himself. Right? That's what it's called. Har Elohim Choreva. When Moses went there a year before the giving of the Torah, it was already called the mountain of God. Why? Because that's where it happened. So Hadat Tovara. By eating of this tree, they would come to know the difference about good and bad. That is, they'd experienced something bad, they'd have violated the humans who had been created will have violated their one commandment. Okay, interesting idea. I liked also an idea that I saw in regards to the creation of man. It says God, so to speak, says we shall create man, B'Tzelem Elohim, right? In our image, in our form, whatever that means. And Rashi gives those words are basically synonyms. Salmenu Kidmutenu. Rashi explains what he believes is the difference, but there are Gaonim and Rishonim who disagreed with Rashi. Not that they addressed Rashi in particular, but they drew a distinction. What does Tzelem refer to and what does Demuth refer to? And then you see that man is created B'Tzelem Elohim right afterwards. Whereas in the next chapter, man is created from dirt, and then given a living soul. He's less divine. And it then says that Sheth was born in Adam's man and image. I think it says Tzelem and Demut once again. And then after the deluge, man is described as being created in God's Demut. Okay? So God, like I said, let's recap. God wanted to make man his Tzelem and Demut. And then he creates man and only his Tzelem is mentioned. And later, the justification for giving the death penalty to people who spill the blood of innocent people as murderers is because man is created in God's Demuth. If you look at Rashi, Demuth seems to be more of the physicality thereof. I think that would be the distinction. So it makes sense that, sorry, not the physicality. It's man's mind. If I had a chumash with Rashi here, I'd show you what I was talking about. Is this? Hopefully, this is Bereshis. Yeah, it is. Let's see exactly inside, so I don't want to get it wrong. Okay. You should read what Rashi says, and then you'll see about killing a person. What's so bad about it? And I think we should plan a shir about. We already talked about the whole abortion issue and the misunderstood opinion of the Tzitz Eliezer. The Tzitz Eliezer basically takes what would be a very makel approach toward the whole issue of abortion, yet he definitely does not give any room for the American so-called pro-choice position, as we saw, right? Even though there are some who wanted to try to do such a thing and try to take these American approaches to this very complex question and fit it into halacha, which is impossible. Halacha says what it says. There might be a lot of nuance there and a lot of disagreement, but certainly doesn't match with that of the American pro-life lobby or the American pro-choice lobby. And now the usual alphabet terrorists, and some people disguised as Orthodox rabbis, are trying to misuse the Tzitz Eliezer's teachings. He has a few tshuvas about issues that might relate to these things, and they're gravely taken out of context and misused. Basically, the Tzitz Eliezer is abused by these, so it'd be a good thing to do to plan ahead for a shiur about this. What did the Tzitz Eliezer actually write? So he says about man. It says over here, seems almost right. God created him in his tzelem. I'm not going to translate it. And then it says b'tzelem Elohim baro'otho. Fine. The distinction is here b'tzalmenu b'dfus shalanu. Kidmutenu la'avinu laskil. Dimutenu is referring to man's capacity to understand and even derive things, think like a man. So it's an intellect. So what is Defus Shalanu? It means the form that God had created for man, a specific, perhaps physical form. And then it says that man was actually created in this Tzelem. Moving on, it says that in the end in Noah, it says here, once God had commanded people, don't forget, you have to shofech dam ha'adam ba'adam demoy shofech ki b'tzel magim asar ha'adam. So where was the thing about demut? I think I got it wrong here. There was one. Here it says tzelem. The point that I want to make over here was here. Now I remember. Here it says once again the justification for punishing people with death is because the Tzelem Elohim aspect. Once again, the Tzelem Elohim aspect is not the Demuth aspect. According to Rashi, Demuth is the intellect. What does that mean? We saw that Chazal said that this verse is used to prove, okay, not for Jews, but for Gentiles, specifically Gentiles. A Gentile who performs an abortion should be put to death. It's a form of murder for a Gentile. Then we saw also, by the way, the distinction was that for a Jew, performing abortion is not an act of murder. Okay, it might be forbidden from the outset, but it's not on the level of murder. That was a very important point we made. So it says that a Gentile should not commit murder, even of a fetus, a fetus in its mother's womb. Why? Because man is created in God's Tzelem. The physicality is already there. There are some people, for whatever crazy reason, wanted to say, well, it's just a lump of cells, or it has no. It's not sentient yet, it's not even a baby. Kamash Malon, it already has that look. So, that's why it is so wrong. It's already man's image, or this particular image that God decreed for man. God doesn't have a tzelem, by the way. God has no physical form, shape, or even anything we comprehend. So what is Tzelem Elohim? It means the form that God has created specifically for man. Okay? The fus that God's entourage, so to speak, the Pamalia Shalmala has created for him. Whereas, here's the funny thing over here. It says about the birth of Seth. The guy who put out that very good edition of the Abarbanel missed this pasuk. Who named Seth?
Noah, right?
No, Seth was Adam's third son. This is something that's kind of funny. Abarbanel notices this and asks about it, and the Magia said, I didn't see where the Abarbanel saw it. I didn't see the contradiction, so I'll show you what it says. Well, it says, Vayida Adam Odet Ishto Vatela Bein Vatikrat Shmo Sheth. She called his name Seth.
Yeah.
What Ki Shaf Elohim Zeracher. God has placed a new seed for me. Sheth from Shaf. Shiviti Hashem Leneged Tamid. Why? Tachat Kain, Tachat Hevel Ki Arogo Kain. And it says here that she named him. But then a few psukim later it says Adam was 130 years old. Vayoled Bidmuto Kitzamo. Vaikrat Shemo Sheth. Adam had a child who was finally Bidmuto Kitzamo, which seems to say that the previous children he had were not entirely Adam's Demuth and Tzelem. And he called his name Sheth. He called his name Sheth. So Barbanel says, so who was it who called his name? And for what reason? Was it the mom because of this reason? Or was it the father because of this reason? And the Magia didn't notice these two psukim. Okay? So here's the point I want to make. Seth is given the Demuth and Tzelem of Adam. Even Adam himself says God intended to make him Demuth and Tzelem of God, but Adam ended up just Tzelem. Here, Seth gets both the Demuth and the Tzelem. Okay, whatever that may mean, I've seen that others say it means he was complete in this sense. It was he had Adam's physicality, the physical aspects that were perfect, and the intellectual aspects that were perfect. Okay.
We would like to encourage our viewers to share these videos with friends and send in your responses. If you would like to obtain Birkon Nusach Eretz Yisrael or invite the rabbi for a speaking engagement, please email us at office@machonshilo.org.